Hi everyone, my name is Marie and welcome to my Flosstube channel, Stitches and Diamonds. If you're new here, a very warm welcome to you, and if you are returning, thank you ever so much for your support of my channel over the past few months and last year. You've changed my life in ways that I could have never imagined. This is the episode number 1 of season 2023. I feel very much like new beginning because it is the new year. I am also a January child, so it was my 36th birthday just this week, and today's Thursday, 19th of January. I thought I forgot to say it. And yeah, so I feel very new beginning-ish, and also I've got a new haircut, so I thought I really liked the way people start new seasons on Flosstube, and so that's why this is an episode 1. Otherwise it is episode 14. I'll still be keeping tab on both of those numbers. Because this is a new season, I thought I'd start with quickly reintroducing myself. It's not going to be long and drawn out, but then I am very chatty, so we never know how it's going to end. I live in the UK. I live in South Wales in a town called Bury. This is my current view. It is an absolutely lovely, gorgeous winter evening here. We've had some very icy weather. I am very officey today. I was meant to go to the office, but the trains are not working. I took this opportunity to just, take this, use the commute time to make a Flosstube video after a day of work. I am an avid cross-stitcher. I returned to cross-stitching during the COVID lockdowns, just as many of us did. But I do have a little sort of memento from when I first began cross-stitching. I found it when I recently visited my parents who live in Czech Republic, which is where I am also from. I thought I got rid of all of my early cross-stitching, and I didn't, so I'm going to show it to you a little bit later. I am also recently a EPP beginner. English paper piecing has captured my heart, so this will definitely start featuring quite regularly on this channel. I sort of hope to dabble into sewing a lot more. I have a sewing machine that I have never used in my life before. This particular machine. I did use sewing machine when my mum was trying to teach me at a very young age, when I wasn't perhaps as perceptive as I would have liked to be looking back at it now. So that's definitely a big project of 2023. Learn how to use a sewing machinery. My channel name comes from stitches, which are cross-stitching, and diamonds, which was my first lockdown hobby or craft that I discovered, and that was diamond painting. Well, needless to say that my first whip is still, desperately unfinished somewhere on the bottom of a drawer. I very quickly changed course and moved over to cross-stitching. But now, seeing that English paper piecing has got not only hexagons but also diamonds, I sort of feel that it is still an appropriate channel name. It's just that the reason for it has been replaced by English paper piecing very recently. You may have seen my face or heard my voice on the Caterpillar Cross Stitch channel. I am their sort of presenter or a tutorial creator, which is something that I've had the pleasure doing for the past, 9-10 months, and it has been a wonderful journey. I am also the creator of a stitching retreat called Stitch in London. We have a new retreat planned for 2023. I will give you a little bit of an update later on that. And I am also a co-creator of Stitch and Chat across the pond. It's a monthly free Zoom chat led by myself and Angie of the Tiny House Stitcher. She's the best buddy I could have wished for. We are having a fabulous time doing this together, and quite a number of you have joined us twice now. We started in December and we had our second Stitch and Chat in January last Saturday, and that was just absolutely amazing. Those are Zoom chats. They always last 2 hours and they always take place every second Saturday of the month. We have recently launched a Facebook group for anybody who'd like to, you know, keep up to date with any Stitch and Chat news, and also share your stitching and build up on the community that is being created on those lovely Zoom calls. So should you want to, I'm going to link the Facebook group in the description below. Everybody is very warmly welcome there. The description below is always kept as detailed as possible, so any patterns shown on here, I will always list them, and if I can, I will post a link where you can buy it, or when it says LNS, it's just available at your nearest local needlework shop. And for those in the UK, because, you know, the US is blessed with many LNSes, which is absolutely wonderful. If you're based in the UK and you're not sure where to purchase your cross-stitching supplies, my favourite shops are listed in at the bottom of the description. To round up the About Me section of the video that begins the new season is that I work in finance. I am freshly 36 years old and I live with my husband and our dog and a cat, and we have an absolute blast here in South Wales. We are relatively new here. We've only moved to Wales 2 years ago, but we are exploring the absolute natural beauty of this place together with our doggy, with our Vizsla, very keenly, and we are having fun doing that. Without further ado, let's just move on to stitching. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of a recap, because it's been a while since I've shared an update, and a lot has happened in between. I attended the wonderful Jingle Ball. I have done a lot of shopping. It was more than anything, it was a shopping event, I think. So I did buy a lot of patterns, but this year I think I'm going to try to only show you a pattern once I've kitted it. I do have a plan to kit up a lot more, so that I have you know, a variety of projects kitted up, and I can just grab them and start whenever I have got the time to start a new start. So I am not going to be showing them right now, but I can say I went absolutely wild with Teresa Kogut. I thought her booth was the best that was there, which doesn't surprise me. I'm a patron on Teresa's Patreon. I think she gives an absolutely amazing sort of things to us stitchers, and you know, the prices that she offered there, the exclusives that she offered there, I thought were absolutely marvelous. I am going to try to kit up some of the projects that I've bought there from her soon, so that I can show them to you and start stitching on them, hopefully. And I met some absolutely lovely people in the stitching room there, and it was just an absolute blast. We all also had 2 stitch and chats with Angie, which I already briefly mentioned. We were joined anywhere between sort of 30 to 40 people. Our capacity is up to 50, but sometimes we have got some last minute cancellations, and it's just wonderful. It's just, you know, people coming together from all around the world. We even have Nikki, hi Nikki, joining us from Australia, which is incredible because it is like 6 a.m. in the morning, which is, you know, terribly fantastic of her to join, and we're just having a chat and a blast. So I've been really social. I've not been posting that much on YouTube, but I've been very social. I've been talking to stitchers, which, you know, is wonderful because Flosstube is me talking to you and then you leaving me comments, which I love and adore. But there is just something really special about being online and, you know, seeing the other person and finally putting the face to the names and being able to interact at that moment. So that is something that I have been enjoying absolutely immensely. And if you do have a chance, you know, even I want to say, even if you're feeling maybe a little bit shy or nervous or are not sure how to work out the technical bits, please just do join. Either join Stitch and Chat, which I love, or you know, join anything else that is available to you. Our Stitch and Chats, nobody has to talk. It's you know, on voluntary basis, so anybody who wants to share will share, but it's okay to just sit and listen, and soon you will know that you are amongst friends, and you will start enjoying yourself, and you will, you know, perhaps feel like sharing, and that's going to be, you know, that it's just wonderful. We are a very supportive community. Stitchers are incredibly supportive and sort of embracing community, yeah, so I have been absolutely enjoying these events over the past 2 months. Just quickly touch upon Stitch in London retreat. It was sold out within 3 days, which was so incredibly humbling. I could not be more grateful to all of you who have signed up. And if anybody is sort of interested in signing up, I would wholeheartedly encourage you to still put your name on the waiting list, on the registration list, because I am thinking about preparing a second weekend, launching a second weekend, because a lot of people are on the waiting list. They have missed out, and I don't want anybody to miss out. So I am currently sort of thinking about launching a second weekend. If anybody was interested in all the details about Stitch in London, there is a special video that, you know, I will not repeat on here, and it will be linked sort of up here, so that you can check out all the details. So I had to switch the light on because it was getting really dark really quickly. Anyways, I also traveled to Czech to see my parents over Christmas, which was amazing. I'm not going to bore you with the details of that. It was very busy. I got to see the whole family, of course. I got to spend time with my parents, who are, you know, very nearly in their 70s. So I got to help in the household, which was really good. My husband and I were helping with, you know, wood chopping and you know, making the fire, and with cleaning, and with all sorts of cooking and anything that you do around Christmas. So it was really good that I felt that we could help them, because we are 1,200 miles away and see them twice a year usually, which is not nearly enough. So that was a really good time. And I was very grateful for having that time with them. I was also very grateful for having a lovely snowy weather when we came there. I am inserting a couple of pictures here. unfortunately, the lovely snowy sort of white Christmas only lasted about 3 days, and then it was just mud, absolute pure mud. So it was still lovely, but so we have a Hungarian Vizsla, our dog, and she requires to be outside a lot, so that just meant that it was just a constant mud and constant sort of paw cleaning and constant showers and just trying to keep the mud contained to the hallway and not let it into the house. So that was fun, but it was absolutely beautiful the first couple of days that we've arrived there. I have also acquired two things while there, which I, thought I would show you because I think you'll find them interesting. Firstly, my parents, living in a very small village in basically like a small holding or small farm. There are no animals anymore, or not yet. But those are walnut shells. So my parents have got huge walnut trees, and every autumn they crack walnuts, and every sort of beginning of winter, and I've asked them to keep the walnut shells for me for my finishes, of course. So these are going to be wonderful for some finishing. I just have to crack them into sort of smaller bits, because these are still quite large as they are, but I have already done some tests with old jeans and a big hammer, and it seems to do the job. So I will definitely crack it down, and then I'll have something wonderful to use for my finishes, and it didn't cost me a penny, imagine that. And I have also bought these really pretty, I'm just trying to think whether I have a price. It doesn't really matter. It's only available in Czech Republic, I guess. But these really, really pretty dark brown wooden boards. Aren't they gorgeous? I think they're going to be marvelous for finishing, and they sort of have this really rustic look. They are not, I love the way they're just a little bit irregular here. They're not very polished. They have this like primitive look to them, and I thought they were absolutely beautiful. So here they are. Those are my souvenirs from Czech, and other than that, we only brought food. Would you believe that? I would. And now let's really get into stitching. So this is practically going to be almost a whip parade, honestly, because I have stitched on so many things. And I also have quite a couple of new starts, because in my last Flosstube, I told you that I had a plan to start all the things, and it would be like every day of Advent there would be something like basically like a Advent calendar. I thought I was going to have it in me to make a vlog out of it. It turns out I don't have it in me, and I cannot tell you how much respect and admiration I have for everybody who has managed to do Flossmas, because I simply don't have it in me. Either, I don't have my makeup on, or my hair looks horrible, or I'm just completely out of the place. I'm doing something different, I'm desperately editing kettlebell cross stitch videos at midnight because it takes a long time or something like that. And I just, I just need to put my hands up and say, I am not capable of doing that. And I know how much it is, sort of how much energy and thought goes into creating these. So everybody who's made Flossmas videos, you guys are absolutely wonderful. I had sort of this plan of everything that I am going to start and fully finish and sort of work on as whips. The plan did not go to plan. I think it's better to over plan, so that you've got a target that is, you know, sort of stretchy so that you strive to do a lot. I strive to do a lot, but I don't necessarily, you know, finish everything. So I'll show you what I managed to do. I'll show you everything I stitched on, and then I'll show you the, it's not that bad, 3 starts that I did not manage to start. Okay. So first of all, I started this robin wreath. It is by Doreen Jones. It is a well-known pattern. It really is. I mean, I don't know, is it a whip, is it a start? I watched Colorado Stitches whip parade. I really loved it, enjoyed it, and I liked the distinction she made between a start and a whip. But you know, it's like half of the robin, I think, so maybe it's a whip already. I only got to work on it for 1 evening, and I was just, you know, just looked for the big blocks of color that would be done really quickly. Where am I going to put it? Where am I going to, if you saw it here, oh my god, this is empty because it's on camera. This is a disaster. My second start of December was Kathy Barrick, Good Intentions, and I managed sort of this much. I am stitching it on a 36 count Barb's Blend by R&R Reproductions, and I think it's absolutely lovely. It is just gorgeous, and it goes so well with the colors. I'm not using NPI silks. They cost £5 a piece here in the UK. So I'm just using the Cold 4 DMCs, and I think they're gorgeous. I think they're lovely. I am loving the colors, and I am using 1 strand, and I think the coverage is just beautiful. There is a little bit of the fabric sort of showing through, which is, you know, an effect that I really love on this project, and I can't wait to stitch on it again, because honestly, I've not stitched Kathy Barrick before. I discovered her because obviously she's totally famous, but she was doing an incredible sale on her Etsy in June, I think, last year, and I got, you know, lovely patterns that I've shown here already, at least some of them, and I thought they were absolutely beautiful, and I cannot wait to stitch them all, because I love me a good saying on a sampler or on a stitching. So yeah, definitely one of my, you know, one of my favorite designers, although this is my first piece that I'm stitching from her. The next start I've got here is the Happy Christmas to All. It is by Cosford Rice Stitchery. Let me show you. Happy Christmas to All. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I met Kelly on at Stitch in London last year, and she was selling these. She was selling these there, and I could not resist. I just love her style. I think it's absolutely just beautiful. It sort of combines this primitive sort of American style, but puts it into England, you know, because this is an English town. She's based in England. She's an American based in England, and I am stitching this on, let me show you the correct way around. I am stitching this on 40 count Eucalyptus by Fox and Rabbit. The Cold 4 fabric was Tin Roof by Weeks Dye Works, but I have been very unlucky with Tin Roof. This is Tin Roof, just so that you can see, and these are the Cold 4 colors. So Tin Roof is practically exactly the same, although it doesn't look like it in this light. It's practically the same as this. You wouldn't be able to see it on there, and the colors just wouldn't have looked right. It's like it's much darker. It's a much darker green than what shows on the camera. And this is a second project that calls for calls for tin roof that I've got. The first one I had was Pet All the Dogs by Teresa Kogut, and it just wasn't right. So I don't know if I was unlucky to have a bad batch, but anyways, I think I'm really happy with my choice of fabric. It might have been better to have something a little bit more grayish. However, I think it's going to look gorgeous because practically half of this is full coverage, and as long as this stands out, I think it's going to look lovely. Greenish is a Christmas color. What else if not green is a Christmas color? So I think it's going to look all right. The called for count was 30 count, and you know, it was meant to be stitched 2 over 2 with some backstitch that for texture and effect is with either 1 or 2 strands. Now I am stitching it on 40 count, 1 strand over 2. So I will have to, when it comes to it, I either will just backstitch it all with 1 strand and see how it looks, or I might try to match it with some, you know, sort of aaallll or some sort of, you know, sewing thread I've got here, to achieve like a thinner backstitch for effect. But I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm at the absolute beginning of the project, and I'm sure it's going to all work out. The next start I'm going to show you is from Home for the Holidays by the one and only Blackbird Designs, and I thought I was going to make this. It's called The Meadow. It's a really nice sort of a papier-mâché box for pin keep, and I thought it was absolutely just beautiful and gorgeous. Of course it is. And the called for fabric was 30 count. So I thought, oh, 30 count, oh, that's going to be quite big, so I'm going to take 32 count. So I took 32 count, and sort of after I've had maybe 2 of the objects, 2 of the trees stitched, I was thinking, that doesn't sound right, because I bought the paper mache box, and how is, you know, this going to fit in this when just the trees are already bigger than the box itself? Well, naturally it turns out that I am never reading instruction. I'm never reading instructions, and I always regret it afterwards. So I was meant to stitch it 1 over 1. I am stitching it 2 over 2. Well, it is beautiful. I love it. Obviously it is beautiful. I'm stitching it on flax linen, just box standard flax linen from Zweigart, 32 count. And what I'm thinking is that you know, I'm going to just finish it into a pillow, into a cushion, and then I'm going to make a second version that is going to be 1 over 1, like a big sis and little sis, and that is going to go into this little papier-mâché box where it was supposed to go the fast way around. So I had to take my jacket off. We've had our windows on one of the balcony doors replaced today, and it was so cold in the house, so we've put the heating on, but we've overdone it a little bit. So now it's like this sauna of a house. Anyways, I'm rarely mentioning threads because, you know, I always, when I show you my starter whips, because a sort of rule of a thumb, I am using called for. So if I am not using called for, I'm going to mention it, but you know, I'm not mentioning it because I'm simply using called for. The next start I had planned over Christmas, and that I did start, is My Heart is Home. It's one of these wonderful, gorgeous stockings from the same book, Home for the Holidays. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I decided to start it on my go-to 40 count vintage country mocha, Newcastle linen by Zweigart, and I just really love the way it looks on it. I'm using one strand over two, stitching on the fabric for crosses, and I thought I would show you really quickly because these are gorgeous. It is a combination of pomegranate, bandana and ruby slipper, and they are gorgeous reds, absolutely just wonderfully brilliant. And my last start for Christmas, I called this as a sell because I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It is the Deck the Halls 1862. I have cut it out like this by Crow's Feet Stitching. The lovely Ruthie has designed this, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it looks like this, what I've stitched so far. I have enjoyed working on this so much, especially her dress. I love her dress. I, you know, have loved finishing the tree. I'm so happy that I managed to dress the tree. The holes are not decked quite yet, but my aim is to finish this by next Christmas, so that I can have it hung and sort of fully finished for next Christmas, for next Advent period. So I will try to put some stitches in it every month, so maybe one object every month type of thing, you know, so that it can be finished and I don't have to rush it. Famous last words. We'll see in November when it looks exactly the same way, and I'm telling you how I need to rush it so that I can finish it. Honestly, I shouldn't be saying things like that because it always tends to be the exact opposite when I say, oh, I'm gonna do it every month so that I don't have to rush it. Those who know me know. That was the last Christmas Christmas start. However, I did have a birthday start. I was sort of going back and forth on what should I start on my birthday, and I decided, you know, to use one of the projects that was kitted up originally for Christmas start. So it is the Mary Amelia's Bird by Quaint Rose Needle Arts, and I am stitching it on a vintage country mocha, a 40 count. Again, I did not know how to decide on, you know, what to stitch it on, and vintage country mocha just seemed, it just goes with anything, I think. Not with anything, but with many things, and I really enjoy stitching on it. So this is where I got sort of his belly, and a lot of his breast is finished already, and I've started on the foliage as well. I am stitching it, so the called for threads are DMCs, but I have the absolute immense pleasure of stitching this with the one and only Roxy floss. It is fully kitted by Evertote in Canada. It's just a beautiful, sorry, these are my floss drops. I'm more, you know, I'm also showing you the floss drops because I'm really so happy with doing the floss drops, because they are like, they take a little bit of time, and I'm so happy that I went the extra mile, because this floss deserves, you know, deserves the best. It's like so gorgeous. And can we appreciate this red, this and the blues, and just everything about this. I love working on this. Excuse me, I haven't been able to put it down for the past 3 days. I just love it. I absolutely really enjoy working on it. And given the fact that in 3 days I was able to do sort of this much, I don't think it will take particularly long time to finish. I think this is going to be a good sort of easy finish. I've jinxed it probably just now, but let's see. I also wanted to say that the sort of picture is a little bit more like subdued, primitive colors, while when I actually am stitching it with the Roxy floss, it's beautiful, vivid colors. So if somebody was sort of worried that this is a little bit too, you know, like bland, if it's not your thing to stitch subdued, then the Roxy floss conversion is beautifully vivid and just absolutely wonderful, honestly. Now, as for the starts, I didn't manage to start. I wanted to start the reindeer by I apologize, right, by cottage garden samplings. However, I didn't manage it actually, because, and I will tell you for why, as Uncle Bryn says. I am stitching it on one piece of linen, and I have, you know, I have the fox and I have started the swans, but in order for me to successfully sort of piece it on, I would have had to finish the trees around the fox as well, and I didn't do that. So I did work on this. I worked a little bit on the swans, on filling out the colouring, and I did work on these trees. Sorry, they are not showing too well in this light, but I never managed to finish enough so that I can actually start the reindeer. So that's going to be work for this year. I am not really rushing myself with this project. I count it as one whip. I've got absolutely everything, all the patterns for all 12 months I've got in this one beautiful project bag, may I say. Of course, nobody else than Ness Craft Room. I'm going to link her below as well, because to me she's the best, one of the best bag makers in the UK, and I've had the pleasure of meeting her this weekend on the Stitch&Chat call, so that was amazing. Anyways, so I count it as one whip, and I'm not really rushing myself into it, because I am enjoying and savoring every minute I spend stitching on it, and I'm not sort of putting timeline on myself with this, because I know I would burn myself out and then it would go into timeout, and I don't want that. But it's all kitted up, so that's a good thing. So whenever I can actually start a new start, I will do that. This month I've already started Mary Amelia's bed, so this month I'm not sure I will be able to start anything else. And then the two new starts that I haven't started are these winter Saltboxes by Plum Street Samplers. I think they are absolutely gorgeous. And again, I'm going to show you. I think I'm unlucky with cold fall fabrics. So this is how the fabric looks like on the picture, or the model picture. And this is what it looks like in reality. I'm not sure if in real life this is so dark. It is the vintage beeswax 40 count by R&R Productions, and it is just so dark, and most of the colors are quite subdued, like this dark green, etc. So, you know, I didn't feel like it would show too well on it. So I just have a vintage country mocha prepared to step in, because I feel like vintage country mocha might be, you know, a good thing to use. It's one of those things. It's such a decision to make when the called for fabric doesn't work that much. Then I usually procrastinate on the project so that I sort of let it settle down a little bit, let my opinion form for a little bit longer, so that I am very happy with it when I start stitching on it. This project is almost all just classic colorworks and weeks dye works. So, you know, they are a little bit more expensive losses. So I try to sort of approach it quite responsibly so that I am happy with the result. The last start that I didn't get to start, but I've got fully kitted, is the Prairie Schooler, book number 50. And it's the seasons. I just love them. And I was planning on starting on winter. I've got it fully kitted. I've got all the called for threads. I'm just using DMCs, and I think it's definitely 32 count, and I think it's Zweigart cream. It might be sand, or maybe I'm completely making this up, but I had might be a fat quarter in my stash, and I can't remember exactly what it is anymore. So I thought the colours on it would look really nice. The called for is slightly darker, so I might still over dye it with maybe rooibos tea or something to sort of achieve a little bit of a slightly darker colour. But you know, again, I didn't get to start it, so I've got time to think about it. Sorry if you hear any sounds. Husband is running up and down. We've got a new fire stick and it comes with lots of television. So he's excited for all that rugby that we are going to be watching. So those are all the sort of December plans, but then I got to work on other things as well. Honestly, this might have as well been whip parade, because I really touched a lot of my projects, because I love all my projects. So firstly, I'm going to show you my progress on Modern Folk Embroidery 2021 Sal. Yes, I still haven't finished it, but I have done quite a lot of work on the April part. I have made a decent progress. I think I am now on 71 or 72% mark or something like that, and I'm trying to do this, to work on this daily. I've been doing rather good over the course of past few weeks, not the past few days, but you know, if I don't get to do it daily, then maybe next time I pick it up, I do 200 stitches instead of 100 or something like that. Because this is just 2 colors, I find that it is an excellent project for like a daily thread type of project, because when there's a lot of confetti, a lot of color changes, a lot of, you know, blends and whatever you, I find it very demotivating to make it maybe like a 30-minute stitch a day, because I can't see any progress at all. But if I can take one long strand of one color and, you know, stitch with it for half an hour, and maybe, you know, do one change on the needle or something, I'm very easily going to stitch 100 stitches. So it's definitely very motivating, and it has helped me do a lot of progress on this. The goal is to progress as much as I can on this, little by little. I have not started the 2023 sale yet. I sort of feel like I'm not sure about the colors yet. I want to do it on the same fabric because it is exactly the same dimensions. and I want to use the dark blue that I'm using on this on the 2021 cell. I want to use the same dark blue in the 2023 cell, so it would be the 939. It's sort of very dark blue, almost purple in some in a certain light, and I haven't found the right shade of a complementing color, let's call it that, let's call it that. So I need to have a little bit more think about it. I remember that it took me 3 months to decide on the 2021 cell as to what color combination am I going to do, and I hope it won't take me as long on on the 2023 cell, but I'm not going to rush it. I thought I could perhaps start with the trees, because then, the trees are quite small. So if I start on one and I end up not liking the color combination, it's not going to be a disaster. It's not like I have put a lot of work into it, as opposed to the big project, the main Stitch Along project, which, if I didn't choose the colors that I would be really, really happy with, that wouldn't be good. So yeah, I've got some contemplating to do, some hard choices to make, but those are those are happy issues, happy problems. And then how do I best tell you about the following projects? I think I'm going to start by mentioning that I am sort of setting myself a couple of challenges. I mean, it's January. In January, all challenges seem doable, right? I might drop most of them or all of them throughout the year, I don't know. But right now I am quite, happy and excited about my challenges. And so let me take it top to bottom. So I have definitely done a WhipGo board. Jessie Marie is really, really kindly sort of creating and moderating the WhipGo group, which is really lovely. And I have just simply put 25 projects. Then I have created this little table, and I haven't filled out the table yet, just in case I finish something meanwhile, so I can easily replace it in the table. But my goal in general is to spend 8 stitching hours on the project. I have used some of the stickers that some of you will be very well acquainted with, because it's from the infamous Stitcher sort of sticker book. It's called Antiquarian, I think, and I've got like a botanical one as well, very pretty. And this month's called for numbers, which probably all of you will know, are 6 and 10. So my number 6, love is the key to happiness. I have started it last year in probably Mania or something, and I still love it so much. Like, I really struggle to put it away because I have completed my WhipGo goal on it. So when I started before the 8 hours, I sort of nothing past this point was stitched. So I stitched a little bit of the border so I can start stitching on the planter, and then I stitched the heart, and then this sort of started growing the beautiful flower in the middle. And just like with all Teresa's patterns, I am loving it. I enjoy everything about it. I think it is ever so beautiful. I love the colors. I love the sentiment of it. And I'll probably pick it up again in February as sort of the main whip, or in between whip, or go-to whip, because I think it's a fabulous February stitch. We don't really celebrate Valentine, just because you know, growing up in Czech, it's never been a thing, and husband grew up in South Africa, and I don't think it's been a big thing there, so we're not really like overly about Valentine, but we do happen to have a wedding anniversary in February, so you know, it is a month to celebrate love. And you know, this love is the key to happiness quote is just absolutely perfect. So I'm certain I will be working on this whip a lot this year, because I'd like to finish it this year. We'll see what happens. The second number called for this month is number 10 on the whip go board, and that for me means that I will get to pick up the Seeking Refuge cell again, which I'm stitching along with the wonderful Angie from Tiny House Stitcher, and I will be excited to show you how much have I managed to do in those 8 hours. I hope I can. I would really like to finish the whole border. It's a proper full coverage on the border. For those who haven't seen how it looks, this is the chart. So I'm probably somewhere around here. So it would be nice to sort of at least stitch one of the parts so that I have only this left. That would be lovely. And if I manage to finish it all, now that wouldn't that be nice, but I'm not sure. It's a lot of stitching. It's a, you know, full coverage. I'm stitching this on 40 count vintage country mocha, just as the Love is the Key. What can I say? I love it. I know it's not special, I know it's not hand dyed, but I think it's just a lovely piece of fabric, to be honest. I am also trying to do the daily stitch in terms of challenges, which, you know, I sort of call Pomodoro, from the 30-minute increments, the 30-minute of focused work. That is definitely going to remain the 2021 Modern Folk Embroidery cell, because I really want to get a proper move on it this year. And we'll see if something replaces it, but I don't think so. It's a lot, you know, there's a lot of work on it still, and I'll be glad if I finish it this year. I'll be very glad. Let's see how I do with that. And very importantly, I am trying to stitch from stash. It is not entirely stitch from stash. If you're not familiar with it, there is a Facebook group called Stitch from Stash, and it's got years next to it. I'm going to link it down in the description below again. And I know about it thanks to Lauren from Cross Stitch Bunny. Hi Lauren, if you're watching. And the lovely Lauren, we chat a lot on Instagram, and she let me know about this, and I really like the concept of it. So the point is that we only have $25 I use £25 monthly budget, and that is sort of your baseline, and you shouldn't exceed that budget with your shopping, and you should try to therefore stitch more on your whips, and stitch more from your stash, right? I have stash. But you also get to earn bonuses by finishing projects, which, you know, is probably the best motivation that I could have gotten. That's it. So what can I say? It is 19th of January, and I already have 2 finishes. Now, you may remember that I had a bit of a palaver with the home of a needleworker, and I was 1 stitch off because of a mistake I made here on the roof, and I've had to frog the whole top border, and I've had to re-stitch it. Now somebody told me a lovely tip on the last video, and that was, why don't you just frog it and then leave it a bit and then pick it up again when you feel like it. And that was really lovely, because when I have to frog, I sort of, you know, put the project in timeout. I'm not enjoying it that much. I'm a bit upset with myself, really. and I'm like, oh, I can't even see this anymore. Even more so because I was frogging the top border and I was watching Netflix or something, and suddenly I see that I have frogged good 1/3 of the bottom border down here by mistake. So that was absolutely silly. I was so upset with myself and I just couldn't work on it. The whole of December I couldn't even look at it. And then the Stitch from Stash finish motivation came through and I thought, oh well, this is almost finished. That would be a shame not to not to have a finish out of this. So I have finished this. I need to fully finish it, and I have sort of amended the rules. I'm making the rules entirely mine on the Stitch from Stash, but I am going to motivate myself by adding a little bit of a budget for finishing something, but also for fully finishing something. So that's one finish. And I have also finished the Teresa Kogut green coat Santa. I'm sorry, it is horribly creased. I did not have time to iron it, but how beautiful is it? I just need to fully finish it because I think it's absolutely lovely, and I am really thinking about getting some old book and sort of mounting it on a book, although I don't know if it would work for this because this is really vertical, it's not horizontal, is it? So maybe it will be flat fold, maybe it should be framed, I don't know. Tell me what you think. I can't see it as a pillow because it's way too large for a pillow. It would be a large flat fold, that's for sure, but I feel like if it was standing, it would really look nice standing on something. And I am so enjoying this. I stitched it on even weave and I forgot the I totally forgot the shade of it. I'm really sorry, but I did share it in my previous video, so you know, and or if you want to know, just shoot me a message and or let me know in the comments below and I'm going to share it gladly. So that is another extra budget. There are like rules as to how much budget does it add to your monthly spending if you finish something, based on the, you know, stitch count, and based on whether it's full coverage, because that then means more stitches and that then means more budget added to those £25 or dollars a month. I really enjoy this challenge because it does two things. It sort of makes me really think about whether I need something, and it really sort of makes me feel like I want to finish something. So I'm actively looking through my WIP pile and I'm looking at what can I finish next, and that is a feeling that I really enjoy having. The next project that I worked on, and that is going to be a candidate for my next finish, I think, is this Maria Brofko whale in a light bulb. It is an incredibly sort of low priced, beautiful pattern, I think. It's terribly sweet. It's by a Ukrainian designer. She goes by Cute Patterns by Maria on Etsy, and I'm definitely linking it down below, just as everything else. But I was creating a backstitching tutorial for Caterpillar Cross Stitch channel, and I used this as the example because Caterpillar Cross Stitch don't have any patterns with backstitch, so I needed to use something else, and I thought this was really lovely. It's not finished, but there is not much to go. This is how it's going to look like when finished. So you can see there isn't much missing in there. So yeah, so perhaps next time I'm going to be showing it, I'm going to be claiming extra budget for a finish. of the whale in the light bulb. Fingers crossed. And then I am trying to do the last challenge, which is a stitch and walk. It is not an existing challenge, it's my own challenge, my own personal private challenge. But if you want to join, please do. And it basically means that I am trying to walk more than 5,000 steps on average a day. I have this very old Fitbit to tell me how much I've walked. If I walked on average 5,000 steps in that month, I'm going to add £5 to my stitches spending budget. If I walk 6,000 steps on average daily, I'm going to add £6, 7,000 steps, you know, and so on and so forth. The target obviously would be 10,000 steps, but I'm not sure. You know, that's not usually very doable for me, not at least during the work week, because there's a lot of sitting for me. I'm a sitting behind the desk type of you know, worker, professional. So yeah, it's I mean, when we lived in our small flat before we bought this house, and it was lockdowns, there were days when I had like 900 steps that day. So it really was not enough. So I am trying to consciously take more steps, take walks, or just get up and do something during the day so that I am, you know, stacking up those steps, because walking is very healthy. I am not doing this to lose weight. I am not doing this as part of, you know, you are so ugly and fat, you should do something about it. I am not subscribing to that anymore. January is such a terrible month for that, where so many companies are just trying to make us feel very, very ugly. And you know, if you've been here for a while, you know that this is something that I absolutely detest, and I refuse to subscribe to it. I have shared on my Instagram the other day a sentence that I screenshotted from somewhere that said, imagine how many industries would go out of business if women just woke up tomorrow deciding they are happy with their bodies. So there are teams and teams of people who are terribly skilled at marketing. They are the best of the best. They know exactly what to do in order to make us buy that diet or buy that subscription to the diet or to the exercise program or whatever you. And I am fighting against it in my own way by having this walk challenge, because then that makes me feel like, oh, I'm already doing something. I don't need this. So I'm almost like putting an armor on myself that protects me from all these sort of marketing weight loss tricks. So if you'd like, please do join me. For myself, it is a way to add to my stitching spending budget based on those average walks, average steps made, and it is just, you know, a way to get outside more and just to get a little bit more endorphin, which is a hormone of happiness, just to get the blood flowing, and you know, to maybe get rid of headache, or just for a little bit of a better mood. No other hidden agenda behind that, just to feel better, really. So please do join if you feel like that. And part of that, I said stitch and walk. So part of that, I decided to work on my oldest whip. That would be the Japanese Garden by Dimensions, and I am hoping to achieve a 3,000 stitches this month, which is a bit of a stretch target, to be honest. I shouldn't have been that strict with myself, I can see already. But I have finished around 1,000 stitches in this area, so that's good. that's good. But you know, January seems to be hurrying along really, so I'm not sure if I'm going to reach quite, you know, quite that much, 3,000. But if I do, I am going to add another 5,000, not 5,000, really not, £5 to my stitching budget. So as you can see, I am doing the challenge my own way. If you do it exactly as the group rules specify, there is an Excel spreadsheet to track it, and there are very, very specific rules. And if you do that, if you want to do that, you can sort of win some prizes in the Facebook group as well. I am not interested in taking part in that, and I am sort of making the rules my own, but also trying to force myself to be more mindful about my spending, especially with regards to patterns, because I have a lot of patterns. I have wonderful, wonderful patterns that I am so excited about, and I really love them, and I really want to stitch them, and I simply cannot continue getting new patterns with the rate that I have been last year. So this year my budget is going to focus mostly on kitting up what I already have, and then on some special patterns. I would like to support new artists a lot more, and this is where I'm going to mention Yas from Yasmin's Made with Love, because she has been absolutely amazing with the new releases. She has been sort of releasing via her Etsy shop and via her fundraiser page. Yas is going to be running London Marathon, which is an incredible undertaking. And also just the fact that she got in. It is incredibly hard to get in, actually. She is going to be running for MenCap, which is a charity that supports children with disabilities, and she has been doing incredibly well with her target. I think her target is like £2,500, £2,500 collected, I think, in the form of donations. And every time you donate, there is some minimum charge. She is going to send you a pattern in return. If you send her an email saying, you know, with a screenshot and saying, "Hi, I have donated, can you please send me this and that pattern?" I have got a couple of those, and I am putting them here, I'm inserting them here, and I would highly recommend you check out her Etsy, and you check out her donation page, because she has been doing just absolutely wonderfully. The amount of work she has put in the charity work is absolutely astonishing. You know, I don't think I've ever seen an individual page for a fundraiser for charity that would do so much. You know, there's a lot of people who just say, well, I'm running a marathon, which is a huge undertaking. I mean, excuse me, I can't run to the corner of the street, you know, without spitting out my lungs or something. So, you know, people do the marathon, and they do the whole training and go through all of the pains and aches of you know, what running over 40 kilometers brings with. But Yas is going the absolute extra mile, and she is creating these wonderful patterns that you can get in exchange for the donation, and it is just absolutely wonderful, if you ask me. So if you do feel like supporting Yaz's course and supporting her as a new artist, please do check her details in the description below. And yes, I will try to focus on supporting new artists, new people entering the cross-stitching world a little bit more, because it is a huge undertaking to start something new. And I will try I will try to support that a little bit more this year. I've got my collections of Teresa Kogut. I am still her patron. I am still, I did not cancel that membership, nor, you know, I hope will I ever have to. I've got my Plum Street Samplers, I've got my Cottage Garden samplings, I've got my Little House Needleworks, I've got my Blackbird Designs. I've got a good stash of the traditional, wonderful designers, and I want to try to explore a lot more new designers this year. That's all I wanted to say. And lastly, so we've spoken about what has happened in the past 2 months. We have spoken about what I've been stitching on. We have spoken about all the challenges. Now it's time to speak about my new hobby, and that is English paper piecing. If this is not quite your jam, it's been lovely seeing you. It's been lovely catching up with you. Thank you for tuning in. But if it is your jam, I will be so proud to show you what I've worked on so far. I have been working on, I think I shown you last time, it was like a rainbow kit to create a sort of pouch almost. I have started creating it, but I am doing it differently. I watched Elizabeth Anken Stitch, the one and only Elizabeth Anken Stitch, has created a wonderful video on how to create an EPP panel project bag. And I am doing exactly that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the rainbow theme all along. I'm going to insert a picture of what the next panels are going to look like. So these are the sort of purple, blue, kind of greenish colors of the rainbow, and then I will have a second panel that is going to be the reds, the pinks, the sort of yellows as well, and I'm going to create, hopefully I'm going to create the sort of bag that is at least resembling what Elizabeth Ann has taught us in her wonderful tutorial. I am so enjoying this. There are days when I can't really focus on counting cross stitch. There are sort of times of the day when I'm too tired, and it is so easy to just pick up a needle and just sew one more piece together. It brings me an immense satisfaction, and I am enjoying it absolutely thoroughly. This is by Alice Caroline. It's a kit, and it is all from Liberty Fabrics, Liberty London. My second EPP project is also by Alice Caroline. It is called Floral Mosaic. It comes in this beautiful subscription box that literally prints how the actual quilt is going to look like, which I thought was a wonderful detail. And this is my block number 1, and this is how I'm doing. So I still need to put a couple of bits on here, and then also sew in the white pieces that are going to divide the colourful sort of flowers, the colourful blocks. But I am enjoying it so much. I can't even, honestly. It brings me so much joy, and I wanted to try quilting. I really wanted to, but as I said, I have a bit of a fear of a sewing machine, and also I couldn't imagine, you know, being able to produce a vast amount of quilts. I wouldn't have anywhere to store them. This quick sort of production of quilts wasn't something that was interesting to me. We don't have kits, we won't have kits, so I can't really say that I'm going to be making something for them. But, you know, my family, yeah, I can't imagine, like, I can't imagine just producing a huge amount of quilts. Let's just say that. Let's just stick to that. And this sort of English paper piecing way has really captured me, has really spoken to me, because it is the slow way around. You know, it is the you can produce maybe one quilt in a year, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years, and it is this slow, gradual sort of journey to create it. It reminds me a lot of cross stitch, minus the counting. So I am enjoying it immensely right now, and I am very happy to say that Nikki Noodle has decided to join on this particular subscription box. So I hope it arrives safely in Australia, safely and quick and soon, fingers crossed, so that we can EPP this along together. And I forgot to mention, perhaps I've mentioned it in my last video already, but I know about this, or I have been drawn to this wonderful hobby by Chloe Wood at Girl with Gavel Stitches, the one and only lovely, wonderful Chloe, who is also a cross-stitch designer. And I have recently purchased a chart from her, which is a very easy finish. I am reliably informed, so I am inserting the chart. It's available on Etsy. Chloe has got a lovely growing collection of reproduction samplers on her Etsy, so please do check her out if you want, because she is a lovely human being, and she loves to cross stitch and she loves to English paper piece, so she must be a lovely person, right? And I think this has been pretty much it in terms of my stitching and sewing and life and all around update. I would like to thank everybody who's mentioned me, everybody who has written to me, everybody who has, you know, chatted to me. And a special hi to Ryan at Rai McGuy. He's been absolutely lovely. We've had so many chats lately, and I cannot wait to meet him at Stitch North, which is mere 3 months away. I cannot even believe that. It's been always a year away, you know, at least next year, and that many months away, and now it's like really close. So I am getting closer and closer to meeting some of the people that I have only been seeing on my screen, or maybe exchanged messages, but I've never met them. So I am getting really excited about that. And yeah, I want to thank everybody who has been, you know, a lovely friend to me over on Instagram or here on Flosstube. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. I am ever so grateful. I wish you a lovely week full of stitching and just joy and happiness, and I hope you have good weather that is you know, good for stitching, whatever weather that may be for you. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Take care and happy stitching.